This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Still waiting in line? Again? That's time you'll never get back. Save time and money with Stamps.com. Over 4 million businesses have skipped the line with Stamps.com. Join them to save up to 90% off carrier rates from your computer or phone right now. Print postage for certified mail, registered mail, and packages in seconds. Then schedule a pickup right from your home or office. For a limited time, go to Stamps.com and use code PODCAST for a free welcome gift. Taxes and fees apply.
Episode 156. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran. Today's topic, ignoring real ignorance. So, anyone who's been listening to this show knows that it's about positive change. And let's just face it, we're ignorant. We're all ignorant. And that's okay, because we're willing to face our ignorance. Now, ignorance is, I'm not putting you down. We're all ignorant. Ignorance is simply not knowing something. You know, I am big enough a person to admit that I don't know everything. And it's okay that I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Now, this lack of knowledge or information is called ignorance. And it's okay. I face my own ignorance every day, and you do too. And in particular, think about it. Anytime you do something really big in your life, like maybe you're getting married, maybe you're having a baby, maybe you're buying a car, maybe you're buying a house, maybe you're deciding what to do for breakfast. I guess that's nothing really new, but maybe you're trying some new type of food or something. We're all ignorant about something. We just have a lack of knowledge or information. And that absolutely plays into our decisions and how we act, what we do, and what our life ultimately is. Our ignorance affects the here and now. No doubt about it. So let's take some action and address our own ignorance. First of all, let's just recognize that we are ignorant. There is no way to possibly know everything. And that's okay. Everyone's ignorant. And if they say they aren't, they just don't know what they're talking about. And kick them in the ass. Not physically, but, give them, maybe educate them. I don't know. Or let them go. Just let them go. You can't change them. So do whatever you want. In any case, I have faced ignorance time and time again throughout my life. I face it every day. Think about it. when I was a kid, I had to learn how to fix my bike. I rode my bike a lot, and I was out there on the mean streets of Hollywood, Florida, on my bike, on my BMX bike, and I had a lot of hoodlum friends. Tommy had some hoodlum friends too. They took apart my bike one time. They loosened it all up. Really pissed me off, but I put it all back together and I knew what to do, and it wasn't a big deal really. I've had motorcycles, I didn't really know that much about motorcycles, and I still am not, a true expert, but I know how to ride. I know how to do a stick shift or shift a motorcycle and drive a motorcycle. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to do a stick shift? These are things, these are skills that we learn. And I guess that's another thing, that we're all ignorant about. A skill that one person has and another doesn't. We're ignorant of that. Like, for me, an appliance repairman comes in, or the pest control guy, or the AC guy. I am ignorant to a lot of their, professional skills and talent. That's why we hire them, right? So, to make up for that. So there's ways around this ignorance. And so we're not really ignoring it. But in some cases, I think, it's okay to ignore your own ignorance. Let it go. There's no way for us to know everything. So I'm just going to keep on and on and on. Now, sometimes when you're ignorant about things, there can be a lot of pain involved in the learning. Like, for instance, with my motorcycle, when I was learning how to ride the motorcycle, I wrecked. I had to lay it down. I laid it down, or it fell over. I was in a turn. Busted up, hurt my knee. And got scratched up. There's pain involved sometimes when you wreck and you're learning and you're in the process of building your experience, so you're not so ignorant. That's easy to see with a motorcycle, but what about just plain life? There are things that happen in our life where we're ignorant, we didn't know things, and we learned. Look at God. I think about some of the relationships I've had in my life, and thank God for my wife, because we don't have a perfect relationship. We're not perfect people, and that's okay. But I love my wife, and I'm thankful for her when I think back about all the women that I dated before that led me to her, and how appreciative I am of that. Because in my ignorance of, dating and relationships, I learned a great deal. I went through a lot of pain and suffering. And don't we all, as we learn and as we become less ignorant about one thing or another, we take risks. And again, I said in the beginning, this plays into our decisions. Our ignorance plays into our decision making. It plays into how we live our life. I am right now working on a almost 60-year-old boat. I was going to say 50-year-old boat, but it's closer to 60 because it's a 1966 Bertram. This has been in my family, and there was some fiberglass repair that needed to be done. I know very little about fiberglass. I've done a few things before, and I guess it came out okay, but I'm still pretty ignorant about it. But I taught myself, I looked on YouTube. I learned about things. I researched the products. I learned about the products. I learned about some techniques. I, again, watched YouTube. I Googled things. I used AI. I, thought about how I would approach what I need to do and apply it in my own way. Apply this knowledge and get the experience that I need so I'm less ignorant. And after working all weekend on my boat, I am so happy. I think it has come out really, really, really good. And I think I could take a really heavy person and invite them on my boat and not worry about them like hurting anything. It is a extremely strong deck. So, and I have myself, to thank for that, to be able to get into that position. I did the work, and I'm going to benefit from it as I bring my friends and family out on my boat, and I'm confident that the deck can handle the weight. I'm so proud of myself that I could do this. And in the process, I had some other problems that I've, been working on with this boat, mainly dealing with, how to do, again, things that I was ignorant on, like installing a gas tank. I knew a little bit about it, but I had to figure it all out. And, you can't, I could ignore things, and I could pay somebody to do it, right? I could take my boat to a shop and say, install the gas tank, and, I could throw all this money. The problem is I don't have the money to do that. But I also think that the money I have, I would much rather spend on other things. That boat's going to take a lot of money over a long period of time, and it's going to take time and effort over time to get to where I want it. I have to learn how to do these things because, we can throw money at things, but we only have so much money to do that. And it's ignorant to think that, we have this bottomless access to money, or just, we're just going to spend rather than removing our ignorance, thinking about how things are done, taking steps and doing them. Now, I was thinking that really what we do is we learn something, we discover we're in ignorance. So we decide to learn more about it, remove the ignorance or decrease our ignorance. So that's a decision. So we decide to do that. I really do believe it is a choice. We can hem and haw and just let things continue on as they are. I have this, I have a boat, but honestly, I haven't ever had it in the water. And for some people, my friends will always joke and say, hey, this is the guy who has a boat who I've never seen, because he was at the mechanics for 5 years. Now, there's a lot of, reasons for that, but I don't know. I think it speaks to my persistence that I never gave up on the boat. And also, it was a question of timing and a matter of readiness. I was not prepared for that boat. I didn't have the money to pay the mechanic who was working on it. So, I would have crossed that bridge had I come to it. But it was very, very stressful. And I had to learn how to deal with the financial, question, that financial stress of having this big bill looming over my head, not knowing how much it's going to cost me to get this boat back, but knowing I didn't have the skills or the knowledge or expertise to do what I needed to get done. And that was get the motor installed, get it running, have it not catch on fire and all that good stuff. That's just above my skill level. But I think what I'm learning now is that just because you don't have a certain skill right now doesn't mean that you're not capable of learning that skill. You could, if you decide to make that choice. Now, I have a friend who's a doctor, and, I only say he's a doctor because he's a doctor. He went through medical school. He got into medical school and he made it through. And he's a smart guy. But when I talk to him about some of the things that I do, he just is in disbelief. Like I could never do that. And I want to kick him in the ass because he could do that. He decides not to. He's right. He says, I have a bed of experience that goes back all the way to when I was a kid, with my bike, putting my bike together and working on my bike and keeping it going and, working, using the tools that I have, like, the fun toys that I have, keeping them going has always been, part of the fun, I think, for me, understanding how things work. And that way I move myself forward. Now, I feel extremely accomplished right now because I have this skill now with fiberglass. I love it. And I'm coming up with other ways that, creative ways that I can use fiberglass to solve some of these issues that I have on the boat and make it world class, and just make it the most awesome thing ever, where people are like, you did this? I want to be able to take pride in my work, and pride in my toys, and have fun, on the way I'm doing it. So, when you get comfortable, when you take some risks and you pay off, and when you take some risks and you learn something, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to be hurt sometimes, and you're going to cause pain. You're going to cause yourself a lot of extra work, time, and aggravation in the process. And it is certainly a process. It takes time to do these things, to remove your ignorance and to learn things. And it does matter if you have a good base of experience in this area and expertise. That does matter. You may not have natural skills that lend themselves to what you're trying to do. But I must say, we set our own limits. I am 57 years old, and I am moving towards my second degree black belt. In mixed martial arts. I do this with my son several times a week. We've been doing it for I don't know how long. I love it. And it is so much fun. But I'm 57 years old. I can't do the things that I could do when I was 28 years old, especially with my hips. I had one doctor tell me that Taekwondo and martial arts were not for me, and that I could go ahead and get my black belt, but don't pursue it much farther. And I called BS. And I went to an actual orthopedic surgeon, and tried to figure out what was wrong, because the guy said I would need a total hip replacement It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. So decided just to go directly to the source, went to a surgeon, told me, hey, I think hips have a lot of good mileage on them. They're slightly deformed, but we can work with that, and we can help you. I did physical therapy, did cortisone shots, and you know what? I'm still going. I'm working. It's been almost 2 years now, I think, and my hips are in the best shape ever. I continue on down this road, and I'm going to continue to hit challenges. I got pretty much past my hips. I'm working with those limits. I understand them much better now. I've removed some of the ignorance as far as what's driving the pain, and I know where to push. It is a process, and I think I actually maybe haven't shared this with everybody, but recently I went to the eye doctor and had an eye exam, and it was discovered that I had some torn retinas, tears in my retina. Now, I have a family history of retinal detachment, so I am very aware of this. I guard my eyes, and I go to the eye doctor every year. As much as I do whatever I can to protect myself. And no, I want to be ahead of the curve. I want to know when these things happened, and it did happen. So I went to a specialist. I had a procedure. They fixed my eyes right there in the office. Thank you very much. But I was thinking I was going to have to give up martial arts. I was going to be, or risk giving up my vision. I don't have to do that. Again, I was ignorant. I did not know that the martial arts isn't really what's causing my issue. The issue is my age and my genetics. Keep doing what you love to do. Keep moving forward. If you don't like what the experts are saying or what one expert says, go find another expert who can help you move closer to what you're trying to achieve. You can't do this in isolation. This is not going to just involve you. It's going to involve other people. Again, we want to remove ignorance and recognize first that we don't know it all. And the most successful people recognize this. And go back and read Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic book, and they will tell you that the most successful people surround themselves with experts in different areas. They have friends who are lawyers. They have friends who are doctors. They have friends who are Indian chiefs. They have friends that are engineers. They have friends in all places, in low places, high places, everywhere. We all need each other. And let's work together to better ourselves, to better this world, and remove ignorance. Because a lot of people, I think, will choose for you to stay ignorant. It's better that you don't know, right? It's better that you don't know what's going on. I call you out. Now, this might be true on some things. You have to learn how to let things go, and you have to make a choice in what you remain ignorant in. But for me, I do whatever I can, and where I can remove my ignorance, that in places that moves my life forward, that is what I challenge you to do. Look at your life and a direction that you want to take it. Then learn about it, learn about what you want, and decide that's what you want. Then take a step, take a step forward, take an action. And then guess what? You're going to learn from that. You're going to come right back to learning, where you make another decision, and then you take more action. And guess what? You come again and you learn. This is lifelong learning. This is a swift kick in the ass, because we're going to learn things as we decide and take actions, and we learn and remove remove that ignorance as we gain experience, and things become no longer new, but not so scary and more enjoyable, I think. So I'm going to end it here, but I do challenge you to really think about what you're ignorant about and face that ignorance and take a step to remove it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that you can do a lot more than you think you can do. The world has a way of telling us you can't do this or you can't do that. And I guess maybe I should be telling you not to do it, that you can't do it. You're a loser, you suck, you're never going to be able to do that. I'm concerned that you're never going to accomplish that because it's just too big. Hearing stuff like that in my life has propelled me forward and brought me to levels that I would never have been had they said, oh yeah, this will be a breeze for you. It ain't going to be a breeze. You're probably not going to accomplish it. Only few people do. But the real winners here, keep persisting, keep doing it, and keep facing those challenges. Because I think there's a lot to be learned in the challenge. And I know my dad is so happy right now knowing that the challenge that he gave me, and he didn't think that boat was ever going to be in the water, but he never really had it in the water all these years. I'm going to get that boat going. I'm going to get it going. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to learn how to maintain it. And by God, I'm going to have fun, because that is what life is about, is it not? Having fun, learning, enjoying yourself, enjoying the company of others, just enjoying all that life has to offer. There's so much out there that we can do. So much more that we can do than we can't do. But oftentimes I think we get stuck when we focus on these things that we can't do, or things that perhaps, if I went to the eye doctor and they said, hey, if you continue on with martial arts, you're going to go blind, and the chances are pretty good that that's going to happen. I would have to rethink my direction. And I, had a week there where I was thinking that was possible. I had to sit out basically a week until I went to the specialist. So being in that position and coming so close, and perhaps, coming to the edge and kind of looking down to saying, oh, what am I going to do now? I would have adapted. I would have followed the medical advice and backed away and tried to go into some non-combative form of martial arts. But I don't need to do that. I just need to continue to learn and adapt to my own art, and that's what this is. This is my personal art. So explore your personal art and let me know if you find value in these podcasts. You can reach me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. You can go to my website and check out some of the ebooks that I have out there that are geared towards finding a more purposeful life. I can't speak. And creating habits that change your life. I live my life this way. I don't do this podcast all that often because I focus on quality over quantity. But I love hearing from you. Thank you so much for listening. And let me know how I can help. This is John at A Swift Kick in the Ass. Peace. Keep kicking ass. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.